I think music is a gift. It's a gift to the musician. It's a gift to the audience. When I get on a stage or when I put out music, there's so much more that comes back. I grew up East Coast and Midwest and moved to California right around high school. So kind of in the same way that music, when I was a kid, became this like piece of the puzzle. California was another piece of the puzzle. You know, there was always music in this neighborhood. My mom played piano, my dad played trumpet growing up.
Well, Andrew, as the youngest of 5, he learned very early to project his voice. He had no problem with that.
About age 8, Andrew started to show an interest in music. His passion for it, I think, was ignited, unfortunately, by the death of his uncle Stuart, and caused him to drive himself forward and become a musician.
It wasn't going to be athletics for me. Like I knew pretty early, and so I was writing poems. And when my uncle passed, it sort of coincided with this moment where a friend's dad taught me how to play Jerry Lee Lewis, Whole Lot of Shaking Going On the piano. I remember going home that night and moving the chord around the piano and sort of starting to sing one of these like poems that I had started writing, and that was the first song I had written. That was it. I remember sophomore year of high school seeing a banner, and I saw like a battle of the bands. That day I just started kind of talking to guys in my classes, seeing who was interested, and we had our first band practice probably within a matter of a week or two, and that was something corporate.
Andrew said, you know, we thought we might have a little party in the house. I rented you a hotel room. I don't know why I said yes. It's just something that in our family, that's what you did. You supported the passion.
I had a keyboard that was set up here. Brian's drums were set up there. All the guitar players were lined up on the stairs. We managed to fit, I think when the final count was in, it was like 250 or 300 people in just the first floor of the house.
The band was playing on the staircase. And I just thought, wow, like for a local band, these guys are really good. And Andrew just kind of commanded, you know, I was gonna say the staircase. I thought, this guy's really, really smart. I wanted to be his friend.
We'd play a gig every month or two, started getting progressively bigger and bigger until, you know, by the time I graduated high school, it was pretty clear like we had a shot at getting signed and taking it all the way.
I remember the transition from something corporate to Jack's Mannequin.
We made those albums back to back, and there was no space or time in between.
I was tour managing Jack's Mannequin, very first tour. You know, we're in the van, we're just doing it real, like lean and mean. We learned a lot on that tour. We got whipped into shape. So when we came out of that unscathed, it just took off, you know. Headlines, co-headlines, and tour all over the world, you know.
And I remember Andrew, when he was writing Jack's first record, he would come over and he'd play the music for me. He called and he said, I'm in town just really quickly. I have to leave tomorrow. Can you take me to the airport? I took him to the terminal. I got out of the car and I said, Andrew, I said, I am really worried. I said, you're so thin and your color is off and you just seem so tired. Well, Mom, you know, I've been mastering the record. I'm on the road 24/7. We're on this tour. And I said, well, I think you need to get checked up. The blood work had come back and the doctor said, you do have acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He said, you have a 50-50 chance to live.
My goal was just to like always be sitting next to him, try to make it as normal as possible.
Everything took a back seat. I mean, it was just, okay, everything's off, you know, you got to get healthy, you know, and whatever you need from me, I'll do.
He said, we can do 2 years of chemotherapy, or we can do a stem cell transplant right away. And then he said, if you do the stem cell and that doesn't work, nothing's going to work. He said, the first one we're going to test is your sister Kate. She was a perfect match, absolutely perfect. It was a miracle.
You know, I felt like the world was willing me to get better. I give a lot of people credit for what was a combined effort to beat the disease.
This last record, and really just the Wilderness Project in general, this was about him entering a new phase in his life.
I started my career over once before, you know, I can start it over a second time.
We joked that like we were pregnant at the same time, you know. I was pregnant with our daughter and getting ready to bring that new life, and he was getting ready to bring a new life and a new light to his career.
Cecilia's birth has really been a catalyst for him. He's more reflective now.
To see the success that Cecilia and the Satellite has had, it feels like people are really rooting for him.
So I've always looked at my music as a two-way street, and, I try and give everything of myself because I know that on the flip side of that is there will be some listener who gives all of that back to me. I think the same is true and applies, back to the Dear Jack Foundation, because that's how I look at it. I was given so much to be one of the people who survived. We really tried to focus the energy of the foundation on adolescent and young adult cancer and try and make a difference one person at a time or one family at a time.
I think with the Dear Jack Foundation, Andrew would like to accomplish first awareness, because even when he was diagnosed, they didn't know whether to treat him as an adult or a child.
And this is, I think, one of the things that drove Andrew to start his foundation and to start research. There are no protocols for that age group.
Over the course of the lifespan of the organization, we've raised over $500,000 for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
I think he's just an empathetic person at heart. When he came out of it, he knew he needed to shine a spotlight on it, and he was going to do whatever he could to do it.
I look at the foundation as a way to sort of to pay that forward or to give back to people who maybe don't have as strong a support structure, or maybe don't have the means to not only get through treatment, but maybe get through what comes after, which is equally tricky.
He understands that the fame that he's been lucky enough to cultivate and garner from the public can be put to good use for other things. I'm certainly proud of the work that he's done with the Dear Jack Foundation. I'm very proud of the father and husband that he's become.
I think, again, having an amazing support system of people who tell me the truth and call me on when I am going down the wrong road, is a huge part of that, and to the extent that I can give that energy back to the world in the form of whether it's philanthropy or writing songs that mean something to me and hopefully to other people, that to me is it's good karma, but it feels good to live that way.
State Farm celebrates great artists and the good neighbors back home who helped make them who they are today. Watch more artist stories at neighborhoodsessions.com.